5/6, hair light, f4 1/3, fill light, f4, lower light, f4. My name's Ryan Jung, and I am the founder and owner of Pandaplush Photolab. It started as just a portrait studio where I was doing mostly film photography, but that slowly morphed into processing my own film and eventually processing friends' films. And now I do that almost full time with a bit of portrait work on the side. I wanted something that I can call my own, and I noticed that there's not a lot of labs in the region, so I wanted to fill that space. Part of it, I just wasn't satisfied with scans and developing that I was getting from sending my stuff off to other labs. And I just love playing with chemistry. So it's a new way to play with chemistry, but at the same time, provide a service for this growing film community in Kitchener-Waterloo. Okay, so I'm gonna be loading film onto these reels, which will eventually go into a tank with a lid on it, and it gets light sealed. Normally this is done in the dark, but I do have just a test roll here to demonstrate what it would look like. Goes on the reel like this. Once it's on, it gets cut. This is just a mini tank, so this is good enough for one reel, but this would be enough for, I'm not sure, 8. Lid goes on, and the chemistry will be poured in here. At this point, it's light sealed, and the lights can be turned on. But for now, we'll have to turn off the lights so I can do these films. I've become pretty used to sitting in the dark by myself, usually listening to music. A lot of people think a darkroom has a little safe red light, but the red light is only for printing or enlarging to photographic paper. But when you're developing film, the film itself is very sensitive to light. So even if I had like a glow-in-the-dark watch on, I would need that off. Put that whole thing in the tank, put the lid on, turn on my flashlight, and go turn on the light. It's 4 rolls of film in this giant tank because I'm doing a process called stand developing. I do this with low-speed black and white film, so anything under ISO 400 I can develop all together, and I use a very 1 to 100 dilution, and it just takes longer, but you get better tonality out of your negatives. Probably better that the chemistry is not flying everywhere, but it's fine. It's very safe still. So right now we're developing this film at 20 degrees Celsius. Black and white can be developed at 22, 24 degrees. When you raise the temperature, the time goes down. So if I was to do it at 24, maybe it would only take 45 minutes, 30 minutes. But 20 is standard, so that's what I use. While we're waiting for the black and white film to finish developing, talk about one of the cameras I own here. This one has a special place in my heart. It's my first medium format camera I ever got. I picked it up in Vietnam while I was traveling, living, working there, just doing stuff. And so it's a Yashica Mat-124G. It's I think this is the newest model of their TLR line, released in the 70s at some point. It's a Japanese emulation of a Reflex. If you want to shoot medium format on a budget, this is a great way to start. Aperture and shutter speeds are all controlled with these two plastic dials on the front, so I can control my aperture from f32, and it opens up as wide as f3.5, and then my shutter speed goes from bulb to 1/500th of a second. The camera itself has two lenses. This is the viewing lens, and this is the taking lens. So when you take an image, it takes here, but you're viewing through here. So there's no mirror like an SLR. It's a waist level viewfinder. So right now I'm focusing on, let's see, there we go. There's our video light there. So you can adjust the focus with this knob. And then if you want to do critical focus, you can pop up the magnifying glass and it blows it up by, I think, 3.5x, and you can focus further. If I'm shooting people, I like to talk to them a lot, get to know them, learn what they like to do, get them comfortable in front of the camera if they're not comfortable in front of the camera. And it's a lot less shooting and more talking mostly. And when an image comes up that I want to take, I'll take it. So at the end of the shoot, there might only be 40 shots instead of 200 to choose from, but I think I find I get better photographs that way. The biggest challenge is not being able to see what you just shot and trying to trust your instinct as a photographer and making sure the light's all good. Of course, you can always shoot a digital backup or test shot to make sure, but lately I've been trying not to do that and just going with it. I like being able to slow down and work at my own pace and not take hundreds of shots in like 10 minutes. I'm not a big fan of photo editing after. And with film, you still have to edit the photos, but it's a different workflow. And a lot of it can be controlled in processing. At this point, the film can be exposed to light. So I'm going to take it out. So we can't quite see through the negative yet because we got to wash off the remaining silver halide with a chemistry called Fixer. Mount that. You just fix until completion. I just give it extra time usually, so. Wetting agent, Ilfiltol here. It's basically just dilute dish soap almost. Very accurate measurements here with a spoon. Don't want to agitate it too much at this step, unlike the other ones, so I just do a couple dunks. And then just leave it till I'm done doing other stuff, but it takes about a minute. So follow me over here. And stuff, it's totally safe to put your fingers in. Just wash your hands in it. It's just soap. And yeah. They're all good. I'm going to hang them in here. There's a small radiator in here actually. Very DIY setup. And with this cabinet, the way I have it set up, after I close the door and it's preheated, it takes about 40 minutes for the negatives to dry. And they can be packed away or scanned right away or whatever you want to do with them. Recently, I've launched my own film stock based off of Kodak motion picture film. Part of it was I was watching movies that were shot on film, so stuff by Christopher Nolan and Wes Anderson really inspired me to use this film stock. And secondly, it was available. so I was able to buy 400-foot reels of this film and load it myself. So in the dark, I would take the film out, measure it with my fancy measuring device, which is this table, from this piece of duct tape here to the end of the table. So about my wingspan. That's a good way to, I don't even need the table, I can just, okay. Anyways, I taped a piece of cinema film to one end, I pull it to the other, get a pair of scissors, cut it over here, and then I like to reuse these canisters. My favorite are Fuji canisters. Kodak works as well, but if you notice here, Kodak has a piece of tape there, so I feel like the Fuji ones are more secure. So when I was in Vietnam, one of the unique things about the film labs there, they were also cafes, so you can go in, drop off your film, get a coffee, get an orange juice, get some kind of drink, and just relax and chill when you pick up your prints, pick up your negatives, or drop off film. And some people just came there to have a coffee, nothing to do with film at all. So I would like to try to introduce that into my own business here. Just not sure how well it would work to have drinks and hazardous film chemistry in the same establishment. So it's a work in progress and researching. So we'll see where it goes. Lens cap off would help. Okay. Looks like this roll was me shooting random street photography downtown. This looks like Victoria Park right now. Ah, it's my aunt's food truck. The Cereal Griller. Shout out to them. My apparatus here is not the most user-friendly. I need to automate it a little bit more, but also the quality is pretty good, but I want better quality as well. So I need to upgrade my lens, my camera, my light source. Now I remember this roll a bit more. So the beautiful thing about shooting film is, if you're like me and you forget to put a piece of masking tape and write the date on the film and where you shot it, and you wait weeks and weeks before you process it, you kind of forget about what you took. And it's a nice little surprise to see the images for the first time. It's like opening a present on your birthday or Christmas, something like that. One, two, three, four, five, six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it hard to work in the dark all the time? No, I'm used to it now. The only hard part is I don't get enough vitamin D probably. So seasonal depression can last year-round if I don't get outside enough. But as for navigating myself in the dark, it's pretty natural to me now. I have something funny to say. You ready? Mm-hmm. So in my dark lab, my darkroom studio, there's no windows, so I can't do any window licking. So I usually just lick my film. No, I actually don't. Okay, this is not Triax, it's some Portra 400 here. So color negative, the film base comes out orange like this, everything's reversed. So actually this is a good example of it. So this is a frame of some paint pigment, because I'm painting a backdrop right now. And the yellow is actually blue, and the blue is actually yellow, so it's reversed. But you can it looks kind of neat. I focused everything perfectly. Oh, another small business shout out. This is an image of the drink fridge at Goldie's. It's hard to think of what the biggest challenges are because everything seems to be a challenge. You're doing everything by yourself and trying to do accounting, photography, film processing, trying to promote myself. Maybe that's the biggest challenge, is self-promotion and marketing, because I feel very awkward. I get anxiety trying to sell stuff to friends or to just strangers. But I'm slowly learning that you can do it in an ethical way and not be too pushy. Other than the fear factor of failing, I would say I was more excited about anything. The freedom was liberating for me to have my own business and do something that I just love doing. I would say if you love it and you can still pay the bills at the end of the day, do it. I think you need a good support system around you though. It helps a lot to have some friends, family, to not just motivate you, but to be honest with you, to make sure you're going in the right direction and staying on the right path. But it took me many years to make this leap, so it wasn't easy. In my small little world here, and the people I've met, everyone's been super awesome, super nice. So it's made it really easy when your customers are amazing people. And I really like that it's a younger generation that's getting into film right now. So there's a lot of people shooting disposables. And it's always nice to talk to them and steer them in the direction of an old film SLR or just a simple point and shoot. So I think that makes me really happy that there's a new generation coming up that's going to be shooting film for hopefully many decades to come. Did I just pick up your coffee? No. Did you? No, this is yours. Yeah, we're good. No, I did just pick up yours. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, I just wiped the top with some tissue. I didn't like full mouth it or anything. My bad.